a baptism of fire, if you might say. It wasn't that the Mali team was actually way bigger than us. It wasn't a size issue, but it all came down to technicalities, them doing the simple basics right. And in my view, I think the fans and the public came out very harsh on this under 16 ladies in that opening game, because I remember about 90% of the comments on Facebook were actually bashing the team, were bashing the federation, were bashing the organizing committee.
I mean, I remember we talked about, when you asked me who do you think is going to win this game, and I said, Team Uganda. Then we sat and watched the game, and by halftime, we couldn't believe
by halftime it was no longer a game.
So the game ended at 92-12, which is basically a difference of 80 points.
92-12 is a gross score when someone is actually, when they listen that you got beaten 92 points to 12 points.
It's like 80-0 if we're cancelling. So just like you said, social media went crazy. People were bashing the girls, people were bashing FUBA, but on bashing FUBA, yes, that one I agree. Okay, but bashing...
explain that to me much more, because there's a particular segment of fans and basketball enthusiasts who have actually put the entire blame onto the federation. First
of all, remember, initially, they'd actually cancelled the trip. Okay, citing that there was no finances to take the team to Egypt to take part in the under 16. Then I think 3 or 2 days before the tournament begins, all of a sudden we have enough finances.
It was actually 4 days to the start of the tournament.
4 days to the start of the tournament.
Yes, there was a press conference, which press conference unveiled Stanbic Bank, the Parliament of Uganda, KCCA, as sponsors for the who team are coming up to sponsor the Junior Gazelles and the Junior Silverbacks for the trip going down to Cairo.
So suddenly we had money. Okay, but that's also another discussion for something.
That is a discussion that actually very many fans of Slam Dunk Basketball Talk are willing to listen to and want to know.
So we'll if
the senior Gazelles were not able to get a sponsor, then the junior teams were able to get 3 sponsors.
Enough sponsorship.
KCCA, Stanbic Bank, the Parliament of Uganda, they were on board.
So going back to that, why I would bash the federation, okay, not bashing the federation as such, that is a very, that's a heavy word.
Enormous.
You can't cancel something, then you tell people 4 days to the tournament that you need to start practicing, which is a thing that Uganda always does when it comes to the federation. I mean, I think later on we'll be discussing why the national team itself that is going for AfroBasket hasn't really prepared for AfroBasket.
That will be a discussion later in the show.
Yes, later in the show. But for the under 16s, you can't expect a team that practiced 2 days before the tournament to go and compete with a team like Mali that has a structure that actually takes care of every age category. Okay, so for me it was actually a setup for the girls. FUBA set them up and threw, just throwing in the shark in the deep end with the sharks. That was the
not just throwing in the deep end, but throwing in the deep end with sharks.
And you can't swim.
But they expect you to get to the other end of the pool.
Exactly. So for them, it was that kind of situation. And FUBA, even if there was no tournament, okay, we should have structures in place that will always keep these kids involved in the game of basketball, so that when a tournament comes, we're not just starting to pick someone here, someone there, someone here to put them up for the games. That is a very bad system that has always plagued Ugandan basketball for a very long time, which I think FUBA really needs to change. Let us have structures, where people graduate from the under 9, under 12 to under 16, going forward like that.
I was having a discussion with Stephen Nyeko, who is the head coach of Namuongo Blazers and also part of the ESCOM committee. And in that discussion, we're discussing the issue of basketball academies and how they are structured. When you look at countries like Egypt, Cote d'Ivoire, their basketball structure is, for you to start up an academy, there is actually a committee that vets that academy. how you're doing it, how you're running it. Are you qualified enough?
Yeah.
What are you actually teaching the kids that you have, boys and girls? And then what is your continuity program? However, we have so many people that have started up academies in Uganda at the moment, basketball academies, and even in other disciplines. But we don't have a committee or an authority that is policing these academies. And that is why I think we're getting it wrong. We have, when you look at Egypt, the Egypt female girls team is scoring enormous, they're actually slaughtering and embarrassing teams.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
By the first half, the first 2 quarters, they're actually done with the game and they're just running their rotations. Because you've been scoring 140, 120, 130, and the other teams that they've been beating have not even been able to make 20 points. You know? The previous game they scored 164 to 10, no, to 12.
To 12.
Yes.
That was a very big margin.
And then when you go down, they go down and their process starts from when these girls are 8 years old. Come to 10 years old, come to 12. Now the best are picked out from this. Here we have a student starting to play basketball at about, when they're in senior 2, that is about 13, 14 years. By the time they can actually grasp a few of the basics, they are in, let's say, senior 3, senior 4. Now, when you put such a student against someone who has been in camp and practicing from the time they were 8, totally, it is a disservice, it is a mismatch, it is a mishap.
Very true. Like you said, there are actually very many academies that are coming up in Uganda now. Mostly in the Kampala area. You know, you have the I-Hoops and all these other academies, and up to now, FUBA really hasn't put a structure under which these academies should operate. But then again, we find ourselves in a situation whereby you can't really wait for the federation to give you a go-ahead. Yet there is a need that you need to take care of. We have very many kids out there who want to play basketball, because basketball is becoming a big game in the world, a very global sport. So I think the people coming up with these federations realize that you can't wait for FUBA to tell you this is the structure under which you need to operate, because it will delay the whole process. So they started up all these academies. As to what is being taught in these academies, we might never know. Because first of all,
you have to be there to actually know what is happening.
First of all, these academies are not registered. We do not know whether the tutors or the coaches in these academies actually have FIBA certifications to coach these kids. But then again, we also can't take it away from them, because if you see that, let's say in a certain community, the kids are really interested in playing basketball, but there is no one to coach them, and you are a basketballer sometime back. So you see the need and decide to take care of it. I don't think we can also blame you in that regard. Just that now, FUBA realizing that all these academies exist, they need to create a certain structure under which the academy should operate. And which age categories should each academy take care of. Like you said with Egypt, and I believe other countries, there's a very good system that they follow. All those academies are
Egypt,
registered.
Chad, Mali,
all those are registered with the federation.
Algeria.
And I believe that each of them has a tutor that is certified by not only their federations but also FIBA. So the federation would trust whoever is there to impart skills, which is what we are missing here. I know that most of our coaches haven't even gone to the FIBA certification, because we have it like maybe twice a year, and there's a very small group of people that are called to take part in that. So we actually need to come up with a structure that is going to help us in the long run. I can't say I like what happened to the Gazelles, but I like the situation it put us in. It exposed the loopholes that are there when it comes to organization of basketball in Uganda.
There was a lot of negative talk from very many fans and so many enthusiasts, so many basketball followers in Uganda about our performances when considering our start. Then the girls actually kept their heads high and were able to get their first win. 2 losses, 2 wins. I believe before we continue to the junior silverbacks, unfortunately we weren't able to get into the qualification round.
We got one win, I think.
Yes, one win, 73-79. You're going to run the viewers, the fans, and everyone who's watching here in Uganda and in the diaspora for the results. The girls were able to make it to the semi-finals, and this evening we will be up against Egypt, the favorites and the hosts. But let's first get through the results.
Well, we're going through the results for the Silverbacks. We had our first game against Egypt, and that also really didn't go well. That was Egypt.
It was a massacre.
It was a massacre by 100 points.
Mali, then Egypt.
So it was 130-30 for Uganda. Okay, that was by 100 points, worse than actually what happened to the Gazelles. Okay, then we get into a game against Mali. That also didn't go well. You know, we managed to only score 25 points. Mali had 103. Okay, so
against our 25.
It really wasn't any different. Then we played against Algeria. It was 69-30. Okay, still not a good one. Then we went up against Gabon and we got our first win. That was 81-67. You know, which really put some hope back into what we were doing. Some momentum. Okay. Then getting into the Chad game, we also lost that one, and also lost against Ivory Coast. That was unfortunate because we lost by like 6 points. You know, it was a 73-79, and because we lost that game, we couldn't advance into the semi-finals. And yeah, that's where it found us with the Silverbacks.
Yes, because for the junior Silverbacks, they were their remaining 2 games. If they had won those 2 games, they would have qualified. For the junior Gazelles, their remaining 2 games, all they needed was 1 win to actually make it to the semis, and they actually got there. But here they are, and they're facing the team
Egypt,
that actually scored 100 over them, and a team that has been scoring 100 over other teams.
I think going into that game, it puts us in a good situation because now we know what Egypt can do. Unfortunately, there are no quick fix or miracles that are going to happen to us right now.
Definitely. Coach Michael Smith is down there in Cairo along with Mavita Ali, Ronnie Motebi. So the coaching staff is all going to be bundled up. Roger Serunyigo. Yeah,
it's a big group, and I'm really excited to see what we're going to do different. Because for a team that beat us by
100 points,
you know, what are we going to do as a coaching staff, you know, to bring that down for us to get a win? And I'm also interested to, I wish I was there. I actually want to know what the coaches are telling these girls going into that game, because what kind of motivation do you give someone who has lost by like 100 points? What do you tell them going into a game against someone? For example, the David and Goliath story.
So we're definitely into the same situation. I remember us discussing the captain of the junior Gazelles, Priscilla Nambogo, and her never give back down attitude, and always having that David Goliath thing with her, that it doesn't matter if the other person is big or stronger than you, taller than you, more muscular than you, you can still take them on.
You can take them on, going into that game, I pray they're all going with that kind of attitude, you know, because these are the semi-finals. You only need a win to advance to the next. So you do what you have to do. You don't have to think about any other game. It's only that.
Every game is a final.
It's only those 40 minutes that you need to focus. And surprises come up, you know. I would still say we're going to win this game because, you know, I have to back my Gazelles to win. So let's see what happens when we get into that game later today. Speaking
to Hudson Segamwenge, the General Secretary of the Federation of Uganda Basketball Federation, who is also the head of delegation to the Junior Silverbacks and the Junior Gazelles down in Cairo. And one of the biggest challenges was the negative comments and the negativity that is being poured down to the girls and the boys. And he was telling me that they're trying the best that they can to limit that.
First of all, I think no one should be negative towards the girls and the boys. Okay, these girls and boys, I think, deserve to be on that team. Although certain people have, you know, doubts about whether some of them should have actually been on that team, but that is what we could field. Okay, so I don't think anyone should be negative towards the girls and the boys. These are under 16s. Okay, what we should be doing as a people is encouraging them. All right, I like what Coach Brian, the coach of KIU, he actually sent...
Brian Wathum.
Yes, Brian Wathum. He sent a post on Twitter actually encouraging the under-16 boys and the girls, you know, telling them that even if we had a rocky start, okay, we can always get better, which I think happened. We started getting better along the way. So for those who have negative thoughts, I think they really don't understand the game of basketball. They don't understand competition, and they don't understand what it is to motivate these little ones. If it was the national team, okay, you can be negative all you want because you know these are grown-ups, but these are kids. This is the future of Ugandan basketball, and you know, tearing them down because of a loss like this really doesn't help us. You know, we should be encouraging them. We should be telling them they can do it, which they are doing it right now. Who knew that would be in the semi-finals after that, you know, first loss? So that negativity is really not needed. We need to be positive towards our team. Yeah,
continuing with communication with Hudson Segamwenge, the head of delegation, and also FUBA General Secretary. In his remarks and his argument to me were that taking these teams at a late stage without minimal preparation and everything was all because they are looking at the bigger picture. And his explanation was the fans, the stakeholders are coming up to be very harsh on these young boys and girls, not looking at the bigger picture. In his argument, them as a committee, they are looking at the bigger picture. Told me that 2 years down the road, this group of young boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, are going to be a different force when it comes to the region. What take do you have on that particular argument?
Well, first of all, I don't think they were looking at the bigger picture. If you are looking at the bigger picture...
you call that political?
That's just being political, actually. If we're looking at the bigger picture, we would have organized a bit earlier for what we're going into. But I mean, cancelling the tournament, then getting back because we got some finances here and there, I don't see that as looking at the bigger picture, okay? But because we started performing later on, okay, after
growing into the
tournament, after the federation was exposed, you know, for their unpreparedness, okay, now we start to say, okay, let's look for a scapegoat. And what is this scapegoat? We are looking into the future, okay? So I don't think Hudson should tell us that we're looking at the bigger picture. No, okay? I think we're going to start looking at the bigger picture after this tournament. And for those, for the different companies and for the people who came in to give the team finances, okay, they should realize that these are kids, okay, kids who are going to play against other kids who have really been practicing for long, okay. So from their perspective, like if Hudson is saying we're looking at the bigger picture, okay, we should take this as a lesson, first of all.
A very big lesson.
Very big lesson. I remember someone in one of the comments was asking, does Uganda have basketball courts? It was that bad. Okay, so we should take this as a lesson, which lesson should lead us into looking into the future and now the bigger picture. So when they come back, they should sit, have a meeting, and let's start creating this bigger picture that Hudson is talking about. But the time we are going, there was no bigger picture.
There was no bigger picture. No. It is Slam Dunk Basketball. We'll return after this short break and we'll be having a short interview from the captain of the Junior Gazelles.
At the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
So far, the tournament has been okay with mixed results. We so far have 2 wins and 3 losses, but thank God we have been able to make it to the next level of the semi-finals, and we know we can push harder and actually go to the finals. The difference between our team and another team is that we have struggled so much to get here. There have been very many stakeholders who came on board to help us to get here, and we don't want their efforts to go to waste, so we are working so hard to the best of our ability to deliver what we can. So far with Felix, we've got to know that we need more investments in the important things that are going to help us compete effectively with the top teams. For example, the training camps. We really need those camps to have enough time for preparation, and with that enough preparation, we know we are going to be able to compete with the top teams in the tournament.
Welcome back. It is Slam Dunk Basketball, and we're discussing our journey at the FIBA Under-16 Championship. Our junior Gazelles and the junior Silverbacks are in Cairo. The junior Silverbacks unfortunately could not make it out of the group stages. However, the junior Gazelles were able to make it and are going to be up against Egypt in the semi-finals. You heard it from the captain of the junior Gazelles, Priscilla Nambogo. Emma.
Yeah, I like how she was, you can actually see from her face that, I think the time she took it, she was really excited. Okay, first of all, just being there as a young person, putting on that jersey of the country and representing the country on a big stage is a very exciting thing. And we'll be talking about her on the show, and she's a type of girl who has that, never back down kind of attitude. Yeah, and in that video, she was talking about how we need facilities. I think being exposed to
the way the other teams are training, and the structures down there in Cairo.
Being exposed to that, I think her eyes were finally open to, oh my goodness, this is what it is. She started to see what we do not have in our country. So coming from her telling the federation and the people out there that we need help, and we need facilities, we need to improve, in our preparation time, is actually a good thing. Sometimes it's better to hear it from the horse's mouth, as they say. Yeah. So I hope for them that going into this game, we'll be able to bag a win and maybe go down into the finals after that. Yeah.
There's also a point that she mentions, but in a rather subtle way. Yeah. The fact of the technicalities, the technical abilities of the other team, and how, as a country and as a coaching management and as also the players themselves, how they need to improve on the technical abilities of themselves down there on the floor. Because when she's explaining, she talks about the technical advantage that the other players have over them.
Yeah, I mean that goes back down to the organization. Okay, when a team is that organized, they're always going to have forget skills, you know, forget skill advantage and all that, just technical advantage. For example, how City Oilers is organized in our league. You know, they will always have that advantage over other league teams. Okay, so them going there also seeing, you know, the advantage that those teams have. Okay, she realizes that, you know what, sometimes it's not only about the skills that you have or the God-given talent. Okay, sometimes these things go down to organization and the technical bit. It's good that Hudson is down there with them. You know, he can actually take all these notes.
Yeah, I hope he has a big book where he's been noting down.
Hopefully, you know, hopefully he's just not on tour, you know, going to see the pyramids.
Taking a camel ride.
I hope he's actually taking it down. So if a child like that who's, you know, I think below 16 can actually see that the technical side is very important, then we are on the right track as when it comes to these young people. Okay, so I think FUBA should take note of that, you know, and start putting in place, you know, the different structures that will not only give us the skill advantage, but also the technical advantage going forward into other tournaments.
Yeah, because that is something that we definitely need. Because after this tournament, after the under-16, yes, then what is going to happen to our under-18? Are we also going to get into a situation whereby we're meeting certain countries and we're like, we cannot get past this, and if we lose by 40, we're like, we did better. We would have lost by 100.
Yeah. I mean, it's not good. Like what you've said, when they come back, what next? Actually, me, that's what I want to know. When I know when they come back, and you will prove me wrong, okay? Everything is going to go quiet. We're going to push everything.
There's going to be a press on a mute button.
Exactly. Everything is going to go under the carpet. Then when they tell us there's another tournament, boom. You know, Uganda is kind of like, you know how when we're in school and you have an exam tomorrow and you have to read the night before.
That is when you actually spend the entire night up reading, and then you don't want to sleep. When the exam is starting at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning.
You read till about 6, then, you know, sleep for 1 hour.
Take a power nap.
Then go for... I don't want to see a situation like that happening, okay? I don't want us to wait another tournament for us to start preparing, go lose again, and you come back and tell us, you know what, we are looking at the bigger picture. What picture? The picture didn't even exist at this point, okay? So them coming back, I want us to actually know what structures are we going to follow, because I know that there are tournaments coming down the road, there are tournaments coming next year. And also these under-16, most of them are supposed to graduate from the under-16 team to the under-18 team. Yeah,
we even still have the 3-on-3 that is meant to come up.
Yeah,
although the dates have not yet been officially communicated.
Yeah, but it's soon. It's either next month.
It is supposed to be next month. It is supposed to be in September. Yes. But the dates are not. The official dates have not been communicated.
Yes. So, do we have that structure that is going to guide these under-16s into the under-18 team?
Uganda is supposed to be the host of that, because we have a 3-year contract. We only did 1 year. Then we went into the first lockdown. That was in 2020. Then now we still have 2 more years as a host nation. Are we prepared to host the 3-on-3?
I don't think. To my perspective, I don't.
The previous one was at the hockey grounds in Lugogo.
That one was okay. Not that well prepared, like, you know.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I wouldn't say okay. In my opinion, I'd actually give the organizers, I'd give them a 7 out of 10.
7 is good enough, you know. But now, I mean, to compete with other nations, we need to get it to a 10 out of 10. But it's a good thing that Tashobia, who is, you know, one of the leaders for 3-on-3, actually went with this team to Egypt.
Yes, as an official.
Yes, as an official. So, you know, I think he should be able to see what the Egyptians are doing there. I don't want to say come back and replicate what's happening there, but come and find a way, you know, that is going to make Uganda outshine, you know, other nations when it comes to that 3-on-3. Okay, he has also seen the skill level, and I believe that he also sees what we need to do different as a nation for us to shine. Okay, because I mean, he was a FUBA president. He has been around basketball for a very long time. So any kind of advice or decision from him should, you know, take a lot of weight into what is going to change for, you know, basketball in Uganda.
Yeah, for the fans watching us out there, it is Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. We are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram and on our website, houseoftalentug.com. The Junior Gazelles will be up against Egypt this evening at 6 p.m. East African time. They need the sixth man, they need that cheer, they need to see that the numbers are up there and you're watching them, because that is the motivation that also any other player, not just in basketball but also in another discipline, needs to know that there are a number of people behind you, watching you, wanting you, and also needing you to get that victory.
Very true. Yeah, like you say, to the people out there, let's forget about the negativity. I know there are certain people who are just waiting for us maybe to be trashed again so that they come back with more of their negativity, but let's avoid trying to be negative on social media, especially when it comes to these young kids. Let us push them, because at a certain point, if your kid is also on a team that is going to go and be trashed, would you want your kid, you know, to be trashed in the same way?
Yeah, we've been having so many stories ever since the pandemic hit, depression, stress, and what and everything, and that has all been part of the things have been the type of communication and the amount of communication you are actually consuming, and the positivity and everything. It needs to be down there. Because they were able to get 2 wins. The boys were able to actually lose and have a terrible start, but they were able to bounce back. They were able to play better. They were able to use what they have in order for them to actually be put out there. When you listen to the commentary and what, yes, the junior Silverbacks did not actually play well to get the wins, but when it came to skill and exhibition, they have lots of promise. So with the right touch, by the time they are 17, by the time actually they are 18, they will be a different crop of players. So to the people out there, you don't need to pour water on everything that comes up. Definitely, we all know that negativity sells. But then you need to motivate these young players. You need to show them that, yes, things are not actually good right now, but they're not good because there's certain things that are not being done. It also awakens them and makes them want to work harder on their personal skills.
I like how the Americans do it. You know, every time you go and let's say search, you know, under 16 American players, the way that these players are hyped, you can think they have some supernatural abilities that you know other players do not have. Okay, so I think we should get the same way of actually pushing these players. Okay, we live in an era of social media. Okay, and all these kids have phones. Okay, and they spend most of their time on social media. So say one of these kids goes on the phone and reads a comment that was really negative, you know, they're going to start second guessing
their abilities,
skills, their abilities,
and why they should be there.
And why they should be there. Okay, and that, like you said, leads into depression, it leads into doubt, and there you've actually caused a bigger problem, because what if this was going to be the first kid to be drafted, you know, in the NBA from Ugandan soil, and you halt their progress from there because you said something negative, okay? So we should move away from this kind of negativity and move into positivity. Take them as your own children. Would you tell your kid, you know, the same thing you're going to post on social media?
Exactly.
Think before you
before you act, and also what you want to be done to you is also the same thing that you should also be doing to another person.
Exactly. You know?
To the Junior Gazelles, as Slam Dunk Basketball Talk, we are behind you and we'll be cheering you on come this evening when you take up against Egypt in the FIBA Under-16 semi-finals. We're talking national team basketball. The Silverbacks. It is not a good story. Things do not look at any way even rosy.
I think we are back to that. Like I said, we are preparing for an exam that is tomorrow. It's only what? It's 10 or so days away from AfroBasket, and we were supposed to go into camp, but that did not happen. And I don't know if we are training right now. We have no information on new recruits. We're in the blind when it comes to the national team. None of us knows what's happening.
None of us knows what is happening. When we return after this short break on Slam Dunk Basketball Talk, we will be giving you the latest updates and also going through some of your comments and your opinions considering the Silverbacks, who are supposed to be down in Kigali on the 24th for the Afro Basketball Championship.
the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They have moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's book face. Why are you on book face? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
And I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
To have enough time for preparation, and with that enough preparation, we know we are going to be able to compete with the top teams in the tournament. Well, so far the tournament has been okay with mixed results. We so far have 2 wins and 3 losses, but thank God we have been able to make it to the next level of the semi-finals, and we know we can push harder and actually go to the finals. The difference between our team and another team is that we have struggled so much to get here. There have been very many stakeholders who came on board to help us to get here, and we don't want their efforts to go to waste, so we are working so hard to the best of our ability to deliver what we can. So far we've got to know that we need more investments in the important things that are going to help us compete effectively with the top teams. For example, the training camps. We really need those camps to have enough time for preparation, and with that enough preparation, we know we are going to be able to compete with the top teams in the tournament.
Welcome back to the last segment. It is Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. Felix Eupal is my name, and in studio I'm with my co-host Emmanuel Ateng. We're discussing the junior Silverbacks, the junior Gazelles, and the senior Silverbacks, who are meant to be down in Kigali for the Afro Basketball. Remember, we are live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and also on our website, houseoftalentug.com. Your opinions, your comments, your recommendations, your views are all welcome. Emma, we were discussing, and we have some views here from the people on our website about what should be happening or what shouldn't be happening, what should be done and what shouldn't be done. But going from you for a start, what should and shouldn't be done? The Silverbacks, the senior side, down in Kigali.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think the national team, steering committee, needs to let the people know what is happening,
Or in terms of letting people know what is happening or what isn't happening, I believe it has been a very terrible job, without mincing words, because the days are running down. The tournament is starting on the 24th, running all the way to the 5th of September. However, the team is still here. The team has not gone to camp. The team was meant to go to camp on the 6th. That did not happen due to resources. The roster, the final 12, have not yet been met. The local base players are actually training here alone, not as a group or as a unit, but individually. So we are yet to know if they are actually doing that. That is according to Mandi Juruni, the head coach. Now, the foreign best players are being followed online.
Yeah.
Our best player so far in the tournament, Ishmael Wainwright, who also, just like we were discussing previously, and congratulating him on the milestone of actually signing the 2-year contract with the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
Luckily, they have what they call the Summer League. So they're in the Summer League and is playing competitive basketball.
Yeah.
The other players, we're not sure. Karen Ziwa, Gedi Abraham,
Opong,
Robinson Opong.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do not know what is being done.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it is 1 week before teams are supposed to be in a bubble.
Yeah.
Now, that is a FIBA rule and certification, which is meant to happen considering the pandemic.
Yeah.
All teams meant to take part at Afro Basketball are supposed to be in the bubble 1 week prior to the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
Now, the Silverbacks are not yet there.
Yeah.
Part of the consequences are that the Silverbacks get disqualified.
Yeah.
I understand there have been meetings between the FUBA president and National Council of Sports concerning getting the finances to take the Silverbacks down in Kigali.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good at all.
It doesn't look good at all. I mean, if we're supposed to be there 1 week prior to the tournament in the bubble, you know, because I believe that FIBA has to test the players, it has to orient them on what's going to happen in the bubble and all these other rules and regulations, okay? I was on the FERWABA, the Rwanda Basketball Association website, and most of the teams are actually down there now. You know, most of the teams have entered the bubble.
Yeah, they already arrived. Yeah. Some teams have already arrived.
They arrived and they're preparing well. And, you know, we are still in the dark about what's happening. We don't know what's happening with the national team, you know. Worst case scenario is that we actually don't take part in that tournament. After going through the qualification rounds and, you know, climbing the hill of we didn't have finances, then getting finances along the way, having to play one game against Morocco, which we won. And, you know, we thought we had finally reached a point whereby, you know what, the players are going to rest for a week. We get back into camp and prepare for, you know, the tournament that is happening on 24th. That did not happen. Talks about, you know, going up to Morocco, Alexandria to camp there and, you know, play 2 friendlies, which could have helped us, you know, gauge ourselves.
Match fitness and also
that did not happen.
Working mostly on our defense, like just like the coaches have been saying, George Gonapoulis, Mandy Juruni, Andrew Tendo, all have been focusing on one defense, thing, improving on our defense, because when you look at the teams that we're up against in our group, Cameroon, South Sudan, Senegal, we have a size disadvantage.
Very big disadvantage. I remember us saying that, you know, Taco Fall is coming down to play for Senegal, so how are we going to handle that? And, you know, we're also not sure if Ishmael Wainwright is going to be given the go-ahead from the Toronto Raptors.
We had that discussion because if you're a sports agent and you're vis-a-vis your client having a 2-year deal with an NBA team, with the Toronto Raptors, then coming down to play a 1-week tournament and you don't know uncertainty with sport,
what's going to happen?
What would you take? I believe when you look at a sport agent point of view, he will go for the business sense, and that would be to play safe. Have your client actually safe, than actually put them at an uncertainty point.
Because I mean, playing for the Raptors, even if God forbid he gets injured, he's still going to be taken care of medically. He's still going to be paid the same amount of money that was promised to him in his contract. Okay, but going back to the Silverbacks, I pray and hope that Ishmael Wainwright will be given the go-ahead to come down. Okay, but still, even if we have all these players, let's give an example. Let's say we have all the players right now. All of them are ready to move, all of them are ready to play, okay? But we still have our big demon, so to speak, that stands in our way, the finances, okay? We cannot move to Kigali, okay? Even the players who are here cannot be put on a bus to go to the neighboring country,
because they need to first go through scrutiny, they need to first be tested, they need to first get the COVID jabs, and then that will actually give them the leeway of traveling by road if the finances are that minimum. Then that would leave the national team steering committee to actually work out how the foreign-based players can actually just fly down to Rwanda.
Which would be much easier. So, like I said, I don't want us to find ourselves in a situation like the Gazelles found themselves, where they couldn't take part, in the AfroBasket qualifiers for women. We shouldn't find Silverbacks in a situation whereby we have gotten to the biggest stage of African basketball and we can't take part in a tournament that should have been organized way earlier. Which brings in the question: where are all these sponsors who put some money into the under 16? Can these same sponsors actually put some money in the Silverbacks team? And also, aren't there other sponsors who are willing to fund us at this big stage?
Well, I have some interesting comments here in my inbox, and feel free actually to put these comments on our House of Talent website, houseoftalentug.com, on our Facebook page, House of Talent Uganda, on YouTube and on Instagram. Emma, I have here Obinyi Jerry. He says that this is hypocrisy from the federation. They were able to actually not let the Gazelles go down for the tournament, but miraculously were able to get 3 sponsors for the junior team. What he says, let me read it the way it is. What kind of witchcraft is this?
I also want to know what kind of witchcraft.
that is, I have quite interesting comments here which are coming in my. I have Dennis Oberel, who says that Rwanda is doing things differently. Why can't we just pick a leaf from their script book and do that? Is NASA sleeping on the job or too busy?
I think at this rate we don't need to pick a leaf. We need to take the whole tree.
We need to take the whole tree.
The whole tree with its roots. But those are actually valid comments.
Because I have quite a number here, but I'm trying to sift through them concerning the issues that were being that are being discussed.
Yeah, I mean, Rwanda, they're our neighbors here. It's like your neighbor at home. You started maybe at the same level or something like that. Then your neighbor builds a bigger house than you, yet you have more capacity maybe than your neighbor to actually build something better.
Then they have a more tidy compound, better drainage system, and you are struggling with your drainage system and your water and your garbage.
Yet you have better skill.
And you're all in the same area, all of you have access to about the same resources.
Yeah, so I mean, like that guy said, what kind of witchcraft?
Yeah, he's actually saying, what kind of witchcraft is this?
Yeah.
So it's kind of not a rosy picture at all. Speaking to Mandy Juruni, he was telling me all they are doing right now and all that he's doing is just hoping for the best, waiting for the communication. And as a coach, he has told me that the best that he's doing is ensuring that he communicates to the players to ensure that he finds out what they're doing, tries to motivate them to ensure that they keep working out, because it is a different ball game down there at AfroBasketball. It's not going to be as hot as it was when it came down to the qualifiers. Every team is going to beef up. Every team is actually going to come out stronger. Every team is going to come out with a different play and a different strategy. Remember, it's different when your opponent also has enough video of you, just like you have of them. So they also are going to sit back and actually watch every single play, every single player. Because I remember having a discussion with one of the national team players, and he was telling me that, Felix, it was not the fact that we were good against Morocco. We made it seem easy because we went through, he defined it as hell prior to playing Morocco. They had to watch constant video of every single player, how they play, their advantages, their disadvantages, their strength and their weaknesses. Told me they knew which player could actually shoot the ball and the percentage wise. So if it's out the arc, don't actually go out playing defense. Go out and step into the arc so that you're looking for the rebound to get it. This player is actually a shooter who drops it. When he gets the ball, there has to be a double team on him. Then there has to be someone running out the arc to actually do that. So that when that person has to pass the ball out, he's having a hard time. When you get the ball, you have an advantage on the transition on offense.
And I think that was clearly seen in their strategy. You could actually
see it made it simple because the first 3 quarters, the Silverbacks were in control of the entire game. By the time we go to the fourth quarter, the game was all done and dusted.
And I was texting someone while watching the game, and we're thinking, now they have left some guys at the 3-point line, they're going to shoot us. But you know, it was a strategy. There are some guys on the Morocco team who couldn't shoot.
Yes.
We were actually leaving them at the 3-point line.
And the team was falling back in the paint.
Yeah, out of 10 they'll hit 1 or 2. I mean, we can live with that.
Yeah, because if you have a 9-point advantage,
it's okay. Then for the shooters, you know, choke them, let them bring the ball to the inside, and we move from there, you know. But like you said, now the other teams have also watched tape on us.
Yeah.
So
they also know what Jimmy Nabu can do. They know what Robinson Opong can do.
Yes, exactly.
They know what Karen Skiza can do. They know what Ishmael can do. They know how to push him out.
So in that
they know that when you get Titus on the floor, they know.
So in that perspective, it's now a leveled playing ground. You know, when it comes to watching tape, everyone
they know that there's a Arthur Kaluma out there who you should look out for. You don't underestimate him just because he's 19 years old.
19 years old, you know. So unless we're going to bring in some new people who, you know, they haven't seen tape on. But if we're going with the same team, okay, I don't want to call it a disadvantage, but we are entering a war in which everyone knows what exact weapons you're coming with, and they have, you know, built weapons to counteract the ones that you have. Okay, I believe that, you know, the other teams, Senegal, have very good coaching staff, you know, that have really put Uganda in that place, because we're going in as underdogs. But the thing about underdogs is that
we're not going in as the underdogs. In our group, it is
maybe
Uganda,
going in as the
Senegal, Cameroon. South Sudan is coming in as the underdog, who is actually, I believe, are not underdogs in any way.
Okay, and they're going to surprise us if we keep going like this. I believe in our team. I believe we have very good players. Even the local-based players are really good. But like Nambogo said earlier, the technical side is the one that is lacking. Right now, the technical side is the one that is killing the national team. I think everything else is set, but the technical and the finances, we really need to get our team down there. I pray that we actually do get down there to play the tournament.
Emma, as we wind up, this week, there was a meeting which happened virtually on the restart of the National League. And according to FUBA Vice President in charge of marketing and publicity, Mr. Arnold Katabi, logistics were the key thing that was being discussed. What is needed logistically for the league to kick off, and then next week the other stakeholders are still going to have another meeting to finalize on the dates of when the National Basketball League should resume and end. Remember, by the time the league was halted, it was about 2 games to the end of the league. However, other teams still had one more game to play. I was speaking to Haji Farouk Zinda, the proprietor and also general manager of Namongo Blazers, and he was saying that if the league resumes right now, they wouldn't be ready. They would need about a month for them to prepare, get their players fit again, train, for them to be ready to play, which is also a voice which is voiced by other teams. Falcons basketball team, what is your take? You're a power forward of Falcons basketball. Falcons still has 2 more games to play, and they need them in order to survive relegation. 6-time champions. The resuming of the National League.
I mean, we'll take the same voice as the rest of the other teams. We actually need time, okay? You can't just wake up and tell us, okay, you know what, the league is going to resume in a week, okay? First of all, we need to think about the health of the players. You know, just getting back into playing without actually practicing for a while, you end up into injuries. Even if you make it down the stretch into the playoffs, what are you going to do with, you know, a team that has injured players? Half the roster is injured, okay? What are you going to do? So we need time. Okay, maybe a month to prepare for us to get back into the league. But then again, that is not the biggest concern here. The biggest concern is FUBA really going to be ready? I mean, this all goes, it's just a circle that takes us back to the finances. Because for us to resume the league, okay, we have to look at all the SOPs, basically, you know, vaccination of players or testing of players. We need to look at the venues that are going to be used. We need to look at crowd management. You know, we need to look at all other different aspects of paying the referees, you know, paying the venues and all these things. So my question is, as much as the teams are getting time to prepare, okay, is FUBA prepared enough for them to continue running the league?
in one of the arguments that were coming from different coaches, also the argument which was coming from Haj Farouk Zinda was that when you look at other teams, they stand at a disadvantage. Said you have one team which has 4 players on the national team, players who have been playing competitively, players who have been playing at a high level, and all they need is 3 substitutions and 7 players, 8 maximum, and they're good to go. Our players have not been working out. But is that a problem of the federation? I believe not. I believe that is a problem to the league. As teams, they also should have ensured that their players have been working out individually. Their players have been keeping fit. Their players have been working on their personal strength and in deficiencies to improve them. Shooting on the line, shooting outside the arc, getting that dribble on the left hand, on the right hand. So I believe, I don't buy into that argument, in my opinion. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I also don't buy
having
into
City Oil having 4 players on the national team, Tony Dereliba, Ben Komakech, Jimmy Enabu, James Okelo.
I also don't buy into that argument. I mean, as a professional or a semi-pro team, okay, even if there was a lockdown and all these things, you should always find a way to engage your team, okay, because we're in a time that is uncertain. We don't know whether the league will resume or whether it won't resume. But in the event that the league resumes, okay, shouldn't you be in a position whereby you have prepared your players before that? I mean, we might say, okay, we're in a lockdown, we didn't have basketball courts. Well and good. Can't you create a program for your team whereby you know that at least they keep up with their fitness, so that when it comes back to basketball, we don't really have to start dealing with the fitness again. So in that regard, I do not blame the federation at all. I would actually put the blame on the different coaches and the different team managers who have not been able to keep their team game ready come the resumption of the league.
Because I'm imagining a situation whereby team managers next week are receiving an email that on Saturday we'll be having games, and then they are writing back to the federation that we're not certain and we're not ready. My team is not ready. Can we get a postponement of a fortnight, about 2 weeks?
I mean, we have to consider the time factor also. We are drawing towards the end of the year, and we can't really resume the league until AfroBasket is done. Okay, the more time
AfroBasketball ends on 5th
of September. So the more time we take resuming the league, you know, it will cause another backlog for next year. You know, there are other tournaments, the 3-on-3 is happening, and I believe that other tournaments and other
we'll still have under 18.
Under 18 is still there. So we can't really keep on that thing of saying, you know what, we need more time and all these things. No.
There's also a schedule for a junior league for the primary schools, which is meant to happen next season.
So we should, I don't want to say get done with the league as fast as we can, but we should use time, because time is of the essence. You know, we need to also prepare for other things. So FUBA, the different teams, the different players, all of us should get in this mindset of we need to prepare now for the league to resume.
It has been slam dunk basketball. The Junior Gazelles will be up against Egypt in the semi-finals of the FIBA Under-16 Championship. The league is meant to resume. That will be after talks which are met with the other stakeholders later this week. Emma, as we wind up, your prediction for the Junior Gazelles?
Like I said, I'll say it again. We're going to win this game. All those who are being negative, we shall prove you wrong today. All the best to the Gazelles.
Well, to my prediction, watching the previous games that Egypt has played, it's going to be tough luck, but I don't expect us to actually lose by 100 points, though I don't expect the Junior Gazelles to come up with that win. However, they have done us proud. They have played enormous and great basketball, and we have a lot of great expectations for them in the future. Looking at how Priscilla is playing, looking at how Sarah Namialo has been playing, her shot, her resilience, Tashovia Shalin, down there, the defense, and also her command on the floor has been tremendous. You can see some of the images on your screen. We will be supporting the Junior Gazelles come up against Egypt. Thank you so much. My name is Felix Eupal. My co-host Emmanuel Ateng. Catch you next time.
So far, the tournament has been okay with mixed results. We so far have 2 wins and 3 losses, but thank God we have been able to make it to the next level of the semi-finals, and we know we can push harder and actually go to the finals. The difference between our team and another team is that we have struggled so much to get here. There have been very many stakeholders who came on board to help us to get here, and we don't want their efforts to go to waste, so we are working so hard to the best of our ability to deliver what we can. So far we've got to know that we need more investments in the important things that are going to help us compete effectively with the top teams. For example, the training camps. We really need those camps to have enough time for preparation, and with that enough preparation, we know we are going to be able to compete with the top teams in the tournament.